不可能跟你见面的，就是娶不到老婆。
This spring festival I decided not to go back to my hometown, nor would I go on blind dates. In our area, the starting price for a bride price is 380,000 yuan, and the man must have a house and a car. However, I don't have much savings myself, so I am not even qualified to go on a blind date, nor would any woman be willing to meet me for one. After all, in our hometown, marriage is entirely dependent on the man's financial strength. My parents always say, children have their own fate, don't be a workhorse for them. If I can get a wife, that's great, if I can't, then so be it. I don't have any particular thoughts about blind dates either. After all, getting married depends on oneself. If I can't find a wife, then so be it. Just let things take their natural course. The men in our hometown are very open-minded about this. There are many bachelors in the countryside, and it's very common for men to remain unmarried. Without sufficient financial means, how can one marry and have children? Even if one somehow manages to get married, life after marriage would be a complete mess, and in the end it would inevitably lead to divorce. Reality is cruel. The cost of marriage is getting higher and higher. A house, a car, and a bride price, none of these can be omitted. But even if all these are prepared, life after marriage may still be full of pressure and debt. Without money, which woman would even be willing to meet you? The matchmakers in our area are indeed very persuasive. They can exaggerate a 1.6 meter tall man to make him sound like he's 1.8 meters when he jumps. But even so, since I have neither money nor good looks, no matter how eloquent the matchmaker is, it's useless. But what does it matter? If I can't find a wife, then so be it. What if I grow older? If I can't find a wife, I'll just live alone. After all, without a solid financial foundation, even if I manage to find a partner, it will eventually end in breakup and divorce. My parents respect my decision, and have never introduced me to any blind dates. Because they don't have money themselves, they also have no way to help me financially. In our hometown, hiring a matchmaker to introduce a woman requires a matchmaking fee. More realistically, many women, as soon as they hear that you don't have money, are not even willing to interact with you. They won't even give you the chance to meet them, they will just avoid you from afar. In our hometown, the marriage market is extremely realistic. Poor people almost have no chance to get married. The moment a woman hears that you have no money, she won't even consider meeting you. Even men who are financially capable may not necessarily be able to marry their ideal partner, let alone those who have neither money nor ability. In such an environment, who would be willing to marry their daughter to a penniless man with no economic foundation? If you were a parent, would you be willing to marry your daughter to a man with no money? That's how realistic it is. Some people ask me, if you stay single for the rest of your life, can you accept it? Actually, I can completely accept the single life. I live quite well on my own. Moreover, if I don't have to support younger siblings, I can live comfortably alone in Shanghai. As for the future, my thoughts are simple. If my career can make a major breakthrough and I achieve significant success, of course, I would still hope to get married and have children, preferably a son and a daughter. But reality often doesn't go as one wishes, and life has dealt me a heavy blow. The reality of society is like this. Without sufficient financial strength, even if you get married, you will inevitably face divorce. And if children come into this world, they will only suffer along with you. So, my current thoughts are, since I don't have enough financial means, I might as well not date, not marry, and just live my life well.
总有人问我为什么过年没回家。
This spring festival, people kept asking me, why didn't you go home for the new year? To be honest, I've long been used to this kind of question. But every time I hear it, I can't help but feel a mix of emotions. I, a single man born in 1993, don't have a house, don't have a car, don't have a wife, let alone children. Home, to me, is merely a distant concept. Since I haven't started a family of my own, what's the point of going back? Ever since I started working, my life has been like a drifting duckweed. Wherever there's work, that's where I settle. To make a joke, perhaps, having the world as my home is a more fitting description of my current situation. Of course, I know that people aren't just asking, why didn't you go home? What they really mean to ask is, why didn't you go back to spend the new year with your parents? This is a question I've thought about many times. But in the end, I still chose not to go back. It's not that I don't want to, it's that I don't dare to. If I really went back, my emotions would be complicated, and my parents' emotions would probably be even worse. Once they see that other people's children of my age in the village have already bought houses and cars, gotten married, and even had their second child, and then look at me, a man not young anymore, still single, achieving nothing and having nothing, how could they not feel sad? As parents, they wouldn't be able to help but nag me a little. Why don't you have a girlfriend yet? Did you buy a car this year? Look at so-and-so, they've already gotten married, had kids, and own a house and a car. It's not like I haven't heard these words before. On the contrary, every time I go back, these words always fill my ears. Even if my parents don't bring it up, relatives and neighbors will definitely care about me with great enthusiasm. When you hear these words too many times, no matter who you are, you will feel annoyed and exhausted. Spring Festival is supposed to be a time of reunion and celebration, but if going home will only make both myself and my parents feel bad, then why should I go back? Instead of putting everyone in an awkward and unhappy situation, it's better not to go at all and avoid unnecessary troubles. Besides, going back to my hometown is not an easy thing. The financial burden is significant. Buying gifts for elders, visiting relatives, giving red envelopes to younger generations, and even former classmates and childhood friends who suddenly organize gatherings during the new year. We don't usually keep in touch, but once it's Spring Festival, I still have to show up, chip in for gift money, and treat people to meals. All these expenses add up to a considerable amount. Working is already exhausting enough, and after a whole year, Spring Festival is one of the few times I can take a break. I'd rather just stay put and take the chance to properly rest and adjust myself. But if I go back to my hometown, how could I possibly rest? Running around everywhere, visiting relatives, meeting distant aunts and uncles, listening to all kinds of nagging, and being suffocated by endless comparisons. Not only would I be physically and mentally drained, but my wallet would also take a serious hit. In the end, it's both exhausting and expensive, so what's the point of going back? After thinking it over, I decided not to go home.
你们过年愿意回家吗？你们回家之后
Today, I finally and completely understand why many older unmarried men are reluctant to go home during the Spring Festival. It's not just because of the high expenses of traveling home or the hassle of family gatherings. More importantly, going home means facing the endless urging and blame from parents regarding marriage. This conflict is almost unsolvable, making people feel incredibly exhausted and anxious. Take my personal experience this year as an example. Every time I go home for the Spring Festival, the most stressful thing is mealtime, because my parents will inevitably throw out the classic question. When are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? This has almost become a fixed topic during family meals. If you try to explain, telling them that you are not handsome enough, lack charm, have an ordinary job, and earn a low income, they simply won't listen. They will only respond with one sentence. You are just useless. Immediately afterward, they will bombard you with countless examples. Look at Xiao Li, Xiao Wang, and Xiao Zhang from our village. Back then, they lived in mud brick houses and had nothing, but didn't they still manage to get married? Look at you. People your age already have kids in middle school, yet you still can't find someone? That's because you are useless. 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 These words pierce straight into the heart, leaving no room for rebuttal. Sometimes, I really want to ask my parents, is reality really as simple as you think? Am I staying single because I'm too picky and unwilling to get married? The truth is completely different. As an ordinary office worker, we earn just a few thousand yuan a month. In today's society, where the cost of living is skyrocketing, how can we afford to buy a house, buy a car, or pay for the betrothal gifts and wedding expenses? How can we possibly bear the financial burden of a family? Even if we force ourselves to get married, can a monthly salary of just a few thousand yuan support an entire household? Just thinking about it makes me feel suffocated. But our parents won't understand this at all. In their eyes, you have the ability but don't want to get married. They believe you are just being too picky. They think you are unfilial and irresponsible. So they keep pushing, without giving you a moment to breathe. If you try to reason with them, explaining the reality of the situation and saying, "My salary is simply not enough to sustain a family, let alone cover the high cost of getting married today." They will immediately pull out examples from decades ago to refute you. Back in our day, we had 7 or 8 children in the family, and we had to take turns wearing the same set of clothes. But didn't we all grow up just fine? You are much better off now. Marriage has nothing to do with money. It's just that you don't take it seriously. They might even add, in the past, people lived in straw huts, but didn't they still have children? Once the child is born, there will always be a way to raise them. This kind of mindset is completely disconnected from modern reality. No matter how much you explain, they won't listen. In the end, their conclusion is always the same. If you can't find a wife, it's because you are useless. Nowadays, for men to find a wife, unless you have exceptional charm that makes a woman fall head over heels for you and not care about money, it's nearly impossible. That would mean you truly have the skills. But for people like us, older unmarried men, who are generally introverted and not good at actively pursuing women, we must have enough financial strength to secure a marriage through arranged introductions. Facing such parents, there is simply no way to communicate. No matter how you try to explain, they will always define you as useless. That's why, for us older single men, going home for the new year has become a huge psychological burden. So, I have decided not to go home for the new year this year. To be honest, my older brother hasn't gone home for 5 or 6 years. Every year, he finds an excuse to avoid it. Now, I finally understand him. It's really exhausting. It's truly mentally draining. Lastly, I want to ask everyone, do you want to go home for the new year? If you do, will you end up arguing with your parents over marriage issues?
我想这个世界上没有人比我还孤独了吧。
Perhaps, in this world, no one feels lonelier than I do. Living in a foreign land, I no longer long to go home for the new year. In the past, my mother never urged me to get married or have children, but as time went by, she increasingly longed to hold a grandchild in her arms. At her age, she should be enjoying family happiness, yet the reality is that I still don't have a partner, let alone marriage or a family, as if I have nothing at all. Nowadays, finding a suitable relationship is as difficult as reaching the sky. Women who are slightly younger than me are often still immersed in their own world and are not in a hurry to step into marriage. Meanwhile, those who are slightly older either have ridiculously high standards or belong to the category of 的零星女, leftover women. The reason they remain single, whether due to their looks, personality, or something else, must be because they have certain traits that others cannot accept. There are also some outstanding 的零星女 who have long seen through society's standards. Their expectations for a partner are even more demanding. He must be either handsome and charming, financially strong, perfectly compatible in values, or have a flawless personality. But think about it. If a man were truly perfect in every aspect, how could he possibly still be single? I once heard a story. A man proposed to a woman 8 times, and each time, he was rejected. But before long, he turned around and married someone else. The woman who rejected him cried bitterly, saying, "I was still waiting for his 9th proposal." But really, who would indulge you like that? Even parents might not have that much patience to wait for you to change your mind. This world, I truly feel like I was born at the wrong time. As a 90s generation, we are struggling too much. I'm also debating whether I should go back to my hometown for Spring Festival this year. The plane tickets are ridiculously expensive, and once I return, I'll have to face endless pressure about marriage. If that's the case, I might as well just buy lawn, forget it, and simply not go back at all.
没结婚没生孩子最大的好处就是谁也管不着我。
Not being married and not having children means I don't have to be constrained by anyone at all. I can do whatever I want. Look, the Spring Festival is coming soon, yet I am still staying at home alone. There is no lively or festive atmosphere at all. I am even too lazy to prepare any New Year's goods. Just lying here lazily, I am no different from a lazy pig. There are only a few bottles of Coke in the fridge. Forget about lavish feasts. I haven't even stocked up on basic New Year's goods. I have no intention of making a grand celebration out of the festival. The only New Year-related thing I did today was put up a pair of Spring Festival couplets, and in the afternoon, I casually tidied up my room, just to go along with the occasion. I have no plans to visit relatives, nor do I intend to meet up with old classmates or friends. To be honest, there's really no one worth seeing. In this way, I end up saving a lot of money. After all, since I'm not visiting relatives and friends, I don't have to worry about giving red envelopes to their kids. Furthermore, the benefits of not being married become even more apparent at this time. I don't have to visit my husband's family, nor do I have to return to my own family. I don't need to prepare various gifts for both parents or for countless relatives. Maybe some people talk about me behind my back, saying, "You're not young anymore, yet you're still not married. There must be something wrong with you, right?" But these words have no effect on me. Why? Because I simply don't care about their opinions. How others celebrate the new year is their business. As for me, I am just one person, living simply and freely. No matter how strong the festive atmosphere is, it won't affect my choice to celebrate the way I like.
In fact, I believe that many older unmarried men choose not to go home for the new year, not just because they are afraid of being urged to get married by relatives. After all, many single men over the age of 35 have long been accustomed to various forms of urging and questioning from relatives and friends. They have also developed the ability to let words go in one ear and out the other. No matter what others say or how they judge them, older single men usually do not take it to heart. Whether to get married or not is their own business, and they no longer care about how others see them. However, what they truly dislike is the atmosphere of the festival itself, especially during the Spring Festival, when the lively scenes make older single men feel particularly uncomfortable. At its core, the Spring Festival is a holiday that emphasizes reunion, and the essence of reunion often revolves around the family unit. Whether people return to their hometowns for the new year or gather in the cities, most of them are accompanied by their families. Husbands and wives are together in pairs. Children are playing and laughing. But what about older single men? They appear as an individual unit, standing alone in such an environment, making them feel exceptionally out of place, as if they do not belong to the world around them. This contrast only amplifies their sense of loneliness, even making others look at them with a peculiar gaze, as if they are some kind of anomaly, someone who does not fit in. What makes things even more awkward is that during the holidays, almost all conversations revolve around family, marriage, and children. Relatives talk about their kids' growth and education, while friends discuss the details of married life. Meanwhile, you stand there completely unable to find a topic to join in. You want to participate, but don't know how. You want to speak, but realize you have nothing in common with them. In the end, you can only stand silently in the corner, listening to their conversations, yet having no idea how to respond. In such situations, older single men genuinely do not know how to deal with it. So every time they encounter such moments, they instinctively want to find a place to hide, to escape from the embarrassment and sense of alienation. What makes it even more frustrating is that this situation does not just happen once. It repeats every year, with every Spring Festival being the same, year after year. How do you think older single men should face such awkwardness? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section so we can discuss this issue together. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support means a lot to us, and we will continue to bring you better content. Thank you again for watching, and see you next time.